Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my garden on this seemingly beautiful day, but at the same time quite a grim day, because I'm taking this video on a Thursday to upload it for Saturday, and we all know what happened on Thursday. Being here in Eastern Europe, I kind of find it a little scary, to be honest, what happened, but at the same time, I want that this channel is about the serenity and joy and pleasure and peace of gardening. So having that said, I still want to do a little project and share that project with you, obviously, and share beauty with you today, because I think this is honestly what we all need right now, especially in times like these. You already get to see the area that I want to focus on today. This is the main entrance of the house. And ever since I did my last video with you here, where I was potting up some things and decorating for Christmas, I haven't touched the area at all. So you can't see it now, but there's still a Christmas tree actually standing somewhere there. And I even have my Christmas lights still in the conifer here in the tree. So well, I really need to tackle that area, let's just put it that way. Tidy up, clean it, and just make it look a little more like spring and just happier, more welcoming again. Luckily, I went to the garden center in Germany 4 weeks ago and took some beautiful things with me, because still here I can hardly find anything in the garden centers. I really don't have a lot, rather than some hyacinth. So this is exactly what I bought actually. But still, the pots are standing on the driveway now for 4 weeks, and things just don't get better the longer they sit in their pots. So I feel it's just a perfect time and a beautiful day to really get out here and start this project. And I feel this will be kind of like part one of the entire process, because I feel in 2-3 weeks the garden centers, they definitely should have some beautiful things here as well. And then I'm going to amp up my game. So this will be just the initial starting point of some beautiful things. I had some ideas of what I want to share with you. I can also show you some beautiful things. I'm going to show you how the situation looks like over there, basically, which is not that, it's not that terrible though, but it's not like, wow, it's not like, it doesn't scream spring necessarily at the moment. I can also show you the pots of tulips actually, because there's first sign of the tulips in the pots, which is really exciting. And then obviously I want to give you two of all the things that I bought and what I want to do with you in today's project. So I hope you're excited about it. Let me first show you how the situation is right now at the moment. So for those of you who follow my channel already for quite a while, this is exactly what you saw last time, how I decorated everything for winter and Christmas display. I still have my pots with the evergreens here, and to be fair, I just touched them a second ago because I thought they might just fall off all the needles, but no, they're still looking fairly nice and good. We had frost today, so maybe they're just like in a state of being frozen. But still, I mean, like they're definitely going to go onto the compost heap. Got a hellebore here, and then like a very nice euchera, absolute beautiful foliage. I'm really going to keep that one in my new arrangement that I'm going to do. Box sphere, then another tiny Christmas tree. The rhododendron, very happy about that one. And the buds, they survive through winter, so I'm very optimistic that it's gonna come to flower. And it is really happy in its pot apparently, so that is definitely a nice one. And then here everything is kind of tucked into the corner because we had some really strong, nasty winds here, and the Christmas tree was knocked over a couple of times. So yeah, everything looks a little like tucked in the corner now, but the weather forecast is really promising and nice, so you could really get in here. I intend on keeping the Christmas tree because it is in a pot. So what I want to do is eventually pot it on, not today, I suppose, but another day, really get in there, pot it on, and eventually keep it for next year. Then, if I just swing around, here are two evergreens next to the main entrance, and one has still the Christmas lights in it. If I just go closer, here it is. Definitely need to get the entire Christmas lights out, and if I have the time, well, I think I want to just give it a first light trim. I try and trim them back like twice a year to keep them in a nice compact shape, and they look a lot better once you've done it. And then if you just swing around, you see Alfie playing with, I don't know what, maybe a walnut, who knows. And then the tiny little cute cyclamen that I was planting with you in the pink. They honestly, they make me so happy, beautiful. And if I continue swinging around, you get to see all the things that I've already prepared for today's project. So the first thing that I want to do is, and you already get to see something green here, I already prepared a couple of moss pots because I think this is just beautiful. They look fresh and kind of like a fresh start for a season when everything is brown and seemingly dead in the garden, especially that one here. So beautiful. Kind of reminds me of Teletubby mounts though, but still beautiful. And I want to show you how I do it. So I have a couple of more baskets full of moss here, and then like what is going to be my bird's bath after the project eventually. Also with some moss, I bought a beautiful new container. And let me show you the tulips because they excite me. You can already see First, here, red shoots. What an intriguing color for the shoots coming through. In this one here, you can't see anything, but I was so curious that I started digging and I could find something in there. And they're even a little further apart. So already first signs of leaves in this one here. Beautiful. I'm really, really happy about that. So if I continue, I can show you what kind of plants I have and what we're going to pot up today, without my shadow maybe. So I have two different kind of hyacinth. The first one that is here is something that I bought in the garden center here. Beautiful light pink variety. Is there a name to it? I guess not. No, there's no name to it. No, but still, who cares? It is beautiful. Very wonderful coloring, so I'm happy about those. And the next one I bought in Germany, and if you look at it, it has like multiple flower spikes appearing. So there are like 1, 2 and a tiny third one from there. So I think this is going to be quite spectacular. I think I have 10 of those if I'm not mistaken. And violas, obviously. I think a springtime classic, and I'm really happy with the color of those. They have these, let me just show you one up close. They have this really beautiful center, dark, and then they fade out into this really nice paler color. And then all the way around the edges, they have this beautiful berry kind of tone. Hard to describe actually what kind of color it is, but nevertheless beautiful. And they live very, very long here. I could keep them all the way into June if I wanted to, because of the climate conditions here. So those are definitely going to be a key element for my pots at the main entrance area. Then I have 2 more pots that I just bought and hellebores. So if you saw my previous video where I was planting up the next to the terrace, the one that stands on the pole, this is where I already used one of those. And now I'm going to use the other 2. This is a variety called Ice and Roses Barolo. Hard to tell on the label now because it's gold. Hope you can see it. But they are absolutely beautiful. How can somebody not love these little beauties? And what I'm going to do as well is do my tours and collect all of the pots, because after winter most of the plants look dead as a doornail in there. I mean, honestly, not a pretty sight. And I think it looks so much nicer once I started collecting all of them. So I had like red hair panacetum in here, obviously dead. The heathers didn't make it in the pods. Mums are not looking nice. All of those autumn displays are really not wonderful. And then, oh, now comes the disgusting part. Little pumpkin that reached its final stage, I would say. So it's definitely time to get in here and just collect everything, see what I have, what I can work with, and then make it a nice fresh start. First thing I'm going to do is really get my wheelbarrow now and collect all of the pots, put them on the driveway, get rid of all the dead material, put it onto the compost heap. I can keep the soil in the pots because nothing has rooted in, obviously. All the soil is still perfectly well, and I can continue with that, which is wonderful. And then I'm going to tackle the main entrance area of the house, clean up everything, get the light chains out of the evergreens, and prepare everything for today's project. Everything is tidied up. All the Christmas lights are out of the evergreens. I'm really happy about it. Let's see if I'm still going to trim that. If I do, this is going to be the last thing of the day today. But now the stairs are drying off, obviously, because I quickly cleaned them. And seeing it like this, kind of fresh and empty but very crisp. Obviously I'm going to put the chairs back up, but I think that I'm going to arrange the pots completely different this time. Not a single pot will go on the stairs, I think. I want to put all of them here on the driveway because the driveway is quite wide here, so I don't need all this space, which is wonderful. So let's see if I'm really gonna do it. You could already see I started positioning the plants into the pot, so see how many plants go in one pot, what kind of pots I use, so I really make sure I have all different sizes. And by the way, you're going to see in a second, a lot of the pots have patina now, which is really wonderful. I love it when they start to have a character suddenly. This is exactly what it is. But before I start potting those up, I want to show you first how to make a lovely moss container, because obviously I already have, I don't know, 5 or 6 standing here, and I want to have a couple more because they will look so wonderful in amongst this entire arrangement. I already prepared a couple of moss containers and I really enjoy the look because I think they have this whimsical, beautiful quality to them. You really try and make sure that you have these little domes here, and as I said, kind of like Teletubby land in a way. All you need to have is kind of nice patches of moss and also bigger ones, because you really want to mold them into shape on how you want to have them. And then you have a pot which is almost full with soil. I think I have like 1 centimeter left to the brim, and this is all there is to it. And obviously you need to make sure that you keep it nice and moist, because moss likes to thrive in shade, as we all know, and especially in like woodland areas where it's nice and shady, moist. So this is one of the things you need to remember. At this time of the year, the sun is not really basking here, so I can really put it here and leave it here. But at one point when the temperatures are picking up and the sun is too strong, I need to move them because I don't want to lose the moss. I don't want to let them dry out or die or anything. And kind of hope that I could continue with the moss, and if I need a container, I'll maybe use the moss and just put it in some of the borders, some of the shadier borders. So all I do is, hello Alfie, do you want to show me a stick again? Do you want to have another stick maybe? Hello. All right. So all you need to have is like nice big patches of moss. It's nice and moist. Clean it up a little bit, and then what you do is you try to find a nice shape and where you can put it, because obviously this is kind of like flat, and if I just put everything in here like this, then you just have like a flat pot of moss, and this is not really beautiful and visually pleasing. So all I do is I mold it into the shape how I want to have it, and this is almost like a little bit playing with Play-Doh in a way I would describe it. So I have a nice mount basically in here, and starting from there I work my way around. I could also use like smaller pieces now at the corner. And it's really just like you figure, as you go around it, you kind of figure what works and what doesn't work. And sometimes if you feel like that piece doesn't work, take it out and replace it by another one. This is why it's always good to have multiple patches, and you could really figure out what works best for you. Oh, this is a nice one. See this? You can tuck it in here. This is really cute. I'm not sure about the one that sits at the front here. Maybe like squeeze it in a little bit. And as I mold it, I try to make sure that I also squeeze it in between like these borderlines where a mount kind of ends, so you really have this nice visual effect. And yeah, this is what I do. I just work my way through basically, try and make sure that the entire pot is filled and very densely filled as well. I hope you get to see it quite nice from this angle now. So all I do is come in with a nice clump of moss, quite a good nice size. And you could really clean it off actually more towards the ends once everything is positioned in there. But this is how I want to have it. To really mold it in, kind of nice and firm, and work your way around it. Next one, oh, this is a good size and a good shape. This is a little longer. Beautiful, see? So it really sits here at the corner like this. That is so cute, and there's like a tiny gap, so I might need to find like a tiny piece that I could just squeeze in there as well. Got like a small piece here. In it goes. And now just the last pieces. Try to make it quick so at least we finish one container together, because I think that would be a nice thing to at least finish off one container in a video together. And then the last ones I'm just going to do on my own again. Let's see how many I need. Let's see how many I need for this project here. I still want to do obviously like a little potting project in front of the garden shed because this is also one of the nice focal points of the garden. And since that is pretty much in the shade, especially at this time of the year, that is a perfect location for a moss container there. So I intend on making a little more than I actually need in today's video. Yeah, but all I do now is kind of like clean it up a little bit. Maybe try and firm it and mold it in a way how I want to have it. But this is, in general and theory, how you do your own moss container. I already prepared the first container a little bit because otherwise this planting is going to take forever. But in theory, the planting for hyacinth is pretty much exactly the same as in one of my previous videos where I was planting the first hyacinth in the island bed because these are pretty much the exact same ones. And you can tell when they sit in the container, the bulb is pretty much exposed. And if I put them in here, this is not what I want because we still have frosty nights, they sit outside and I want to protect them. And especially when they're sitting in a pot, plants are more vulnerable. So all I do basically is quite simple. I'll just sprinkle a little bit of bone chips in here just to give them a better start. And then just dig a little bit, get them out of their container. I don't do anything to the roots. I don't want to disturb them or anything, even though they're a little bit pot bound in here, but that doesn't really matter on hyacinth from my experience. Last year I did a little testing. Some of them I teased apart and others I didn't, and those that I haven't touched at all definitely were happier. So that was a proof I'm not going to do a thing to those here. And I want to really make sure that they are happy little campers because they're beautiful light pink ones. And the island bed in the back section of the garden, I focus for spring on all shades of blush and light pink, pale pink, just some of my springtime favorite colors. And this is why after they've done color flowering in the pots, I want to take the bulbs and put them in the border and then also bury them in the depth where they actually should belong, which is like 5 to 10 centimeters in depth. What I do as well is, so make sure everything is covered nicely, the bulb is covered with soil, but I will also mulch everything here. Because the mulch is an extra layer of protection, and even this morning we had some frost, which visually was beautiful. Like the entire garden was covered in a thin light layer of white and like sparkling in the sun. It was really a magical moment. But for those little plants it's definitely not ideal, so it's better to mulch them in and give them extra protection. Always firm in everything nicely. You don't want to have air pockets or anything because especially in containers, plants are very vulnerable. They can easily get a frost damage at this time of the year. So that was it. Spread them out evenly. So I have 7 in here, I think. Yes, 7 hyacinth. Got that. It's going to be a beautiful display. So in a second, I grab some mulch it in nicely. And just imagine all of these containers with hyacinth next to the main entrance. When they all come to flower, what an amazing scent that will be. I can't wait for it to come back home. Absolutely wonderful. So put this one aside. And then I'm going to pot up some violas. So for the violas, they definitely thrive. And they will grow quite a lot in those containers. So in theory, probably I could get along with just like putting 1 viola in here, but that'd be a little boring, so I'm not going to do that, obviously. So really, I think in this pot size, I'm going to put 3 in here, and then I have like a nice dome shape plant at one point, or 3 plants in here. And violas, they thrive really well in here because the climate is not too hot, too early. So I could keep it in here probably up until end of June. Honestly, even probably into July if I wanted to. So I need to see, and this is also why I was really picky with those, finding a good color where I feel if I want to keep them for as long as possible, they need to be quite well color coordinated because then they kind of set the tone for whatever I'm going to do in this area here. And this one, I'm really happy why I found these. And if you just look at them, I mean, they sat in their pots for 4 weeks on the driveway, still looking fantastic. Happy to plant them finally. When it comes to the planting, pretty much very easy. Same thing applies as to the hyacinth. Going to put some soil in here, definitely some of the bone chips as a long-time fertilizer. Plant them dead level, mulch them in, and that is all there is. So this is exactly what I'm going to do now. Plant everything here, finish off my last moss containers, and then comes the fun part of the day, staging everything. Everything is potted up and I couldn't be happier. I think it looks really nice and cute. I'm really excited to show you how it actually looks. And as I said, this is just a starting point. So this is pretty much going to be part one. At one point, when I get my hands on more lovely spring plants, there's got to be a part two. And I'm really excited because I really want to amp up my game. I really want to put more pots here and make it more beautiful and bountiful and whatever word fits to the situation here. And I shouldn't forget that I still have my tulips on the way. So at one point, obviously, the tulips will also come in here. And I thought about putting a pot there, but no. Then I thought, you know what, you can hardly see anything. I don't think that will be like for a nice impact yet. But how I plan on treating the area this year is kind of like more organic. Like at one point the hellebores, they will fade out, obviously. So they go into a border and then I can use the pots for something else. So rather than making like a big cut and trying to make something completely different, maybe I should treat the area a little bit of like an organic process, changing things and let it evolve maybe. But let's see, this is just my idea from today. Let's see how it happens. So what I want to do now, obviously flip the phone and show you how everything looks like. Guess who already enjoys the little makeover? Luckily the chair has a nice fake fur and a pillow on it again, so it's nice and cushy for Alfie. And she has everything inside from up here, so I think she really likes it. And as I said, I wanted to keep it very crisp and clean, so all I did is just put one little planter here, like this basket weave planter, with 6 hyacinth, a little bit of moss, a little bit of mulch, and this is all there is to this area. And it already feels a little bit like a preparation for Easter, because I can already tell you when it comes to Easter, you're not going to see any white and yellow decorating out of me. Easter will definitely be a little more into this color world. So if I swing around, let me just show you what I did here. There you go, all the pots. I think it's also a nice difference in height and texture. So got the box spheres here, then I got the lovely leaf variegation from the rhododendron, beautiful euchera, and they are so color coordinated. The leaves with those hellebores in the back there, such a stunner. I should have bought probably more of those. I'm really in love with them. Some of my favorite hellebores, I think, also for the foliage. Dark, really lush, deep green. The stems, absolutely wonderful. Same color as a flower, top hanging. Beautiful. Very happy also with the moss containers. I think that they really bring a special element to the entire setting. Kind of like spring in woodland. That was pretty much my inspiration for it. And I feel it is a nice look in general. Also put a little bird bath here, which is, to be fair, not used by bird. This is kind of like Alfie's drink bar. And that needs to be cleaned, by the way, but I had no time now. So I'll do it another day. I'm always up for a nice patina, but there is no patina. There is just dirt, basically. But yeah, this is the starting point. Also, I want to put obviously more pots in front of the garden shed and make the entire area very cohesive so it makes sense together. But therefore, I need to wait a little longer before I can find the perfect things in the garden center. You guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and had some relaxing, nice time with me in the garden. I definitely had some really lovely hours here, and I'm happy that I finally tackled this area, because this is the main entrance. So this is kind of like a very important area to each and every single house, because this is what I get to see multiple times during the day. And it feels nice that it's kind of like fresh and crisp and clean and everything that I wanted from it. And even though I didn't have as many plants as I wished for, still, it is a starting point and I'm happy with how it turned out. So I really hope you enjoyed as much as I do, and I would love to welcome you in my garden very soon again. Take care, guys. Bye.